Greetings, boys and girls. Today we'll address the reason why we talk about forensic regression in a clinical setting. And this is very simply because it is an investigation. When we are investigating why any given one of us is struggling with issues, symptoms, conditions today that is preventing us from living a life in peace, happiness, and joy. There is a cause for that. And the root cause does not stem from something that happened yesterday. It's typically something that happened way in our past, a long time ago, before we truly knew who we were and how the world functioned around us, when we were developing our beliefs, our system of understanding of ourselves and the world. Some events occurred that led us to accept false beliefs. So it's basically forensic regression in my practice is an investigation, allowing us to go back in time to the scene of past events and experiences that are at the root. In other words, acting as the engine, the motivating factor for our current issues, conditions, and symptoms. So in the end, it is precisely comparable to a criminal investigation. I happen to be a forensic hypnotist and work with unsolved cases. And I merged basically my clinical background as an emergency medicine first responder, responding to catastrophic events. When you're a first responder, obviously you're in the midst of trauma. And my forensic background in my clinical practice, helping others address, regress, understand, and resolve the root causes at the core of their current symptoms, conditions, and issues that are preventing them from living life truly. So in the words that, in the facts that we're going back to the scene of the crime, so to speak, of the reason, the facts and events that determined our response in accepting false belief. It is really in the same manner as we do with criminal investigations. We're going back in time to attempt to find the perpetrators, also called the perps in criminal lingo. And so in clinical setting, we do principally the same exact thing. We're going back in time with forensic regression to the root cause that is the determining factor for our current issues, mechanisms, and limitations. And when we look at forensic profiling and criminal profiling, which has been done extensively in the past decades and even hundreds of years, we see that the reason for the motivating factors that will push someone to become a criminal, to develop coping mechanisms, and often develop very harmful habits. The root cause is more often than not, if not practically every single time, based in early life trauma. So some people become criminals because of early life trauma. Some people become part of law enforcement because of early life trauma. And some people, like myself, become focused on understanding why early life trauma affects us and how to work with brain plasticity and brain rewiring to follow the neural pathways that are igniting in our brain, creating a response like anxiety, fear, distress, stress, insomnia, depression. And of course, I'm listing among these issues medical conditions. So I want to state, as I always do, that as forensic and clinical hypnotherapist, I am not myself a licensed medical provider. So I only work on medical condition, diagnosed condition, in collaboration and cooperation with members of the medical field. I have developed my practice working very intimately with licensed medical providers. I work extensively with psychiatrists, psychologists, medical doctors on the conditions of their patients. So together, we approach the symptoms as a collaborative work. And I think it's in the benefit of every person, because therefore you're getting the best of all worlds. You're getting your medical approach addressing your medical symptoms, and you're getting your forensic approach addressing the cause. So in modern medicine, and for a very, very long time, the approach has been almost exclusively symptomatic, meaning that the medical field will address the symptoms for a condition. And you have a headache, you will be prescribed a headache medication. You have depression, you will be prescribed an antidepressant medication. You have anxiety, you'll be prescribed sometimes an anti-anxiety medications. Think about this, it's a symptomatic approach. It does not address the cause for your condition. So while your medical team is addressing your symptoms, I specialize with my team in addressing the cause. And the root cause is something that happened a long time ago. We know with the biology of beliefs, and I'll speak more about that in later videos. And I spoke about that in previous videos on my channel. You're welcome to go and check. We know with the biology of belief that our beliefs turned into thoughts, that turn into action and reaction, that basically determine how we act and interact with the world around us. We also know now, with the magnificent research that was done in the mid-90s by the ACEs study, and more recently by doctors again in the field of childhood trauma, that events that happen in early life that do not necessarily have to be catastrophic in terms of shootings and murders, and it could be very simply events where we felt unsafe as a child, we felt threatened, we felt unloved, unaccepted, that were profoundly distressing for our psyche as a young child, because as children, our primary needs are to feel safe and loved and bonded with our caretakers, since it is a critical determining factor for our survival. So when events happen in an early time in our life where we feel unsafe, this very much fits into terms of trauma. And we now know that it affects our genetic programming, and this is called epigenetic, above the genome. Above the genome is the mind. So events that lead us to feel unsafe will determine which genetic programming is turned on, with which genes are turned on or off. And as you can see in the ACEs report, or the work of doctors that follow that ACE report in the mid-90s, and my reports on that on earlier videos on my channel, this lead to unsafe conditions in our health at later on in life. It affects our health through the course of our lifetime. So it is very important to address these early life beliefs, and that's what we do when we work with forensic regression in a clinical setting. That's the area of specialization of my work and practice. I bring you who work with me back in time, starting from your current symptom of today, whatever it may be, whether it's fear, distress, lack of confidence, lack of thriving, basically. And we will take that issue, that symptom, that emotion, and if there is a diagnosed condition, again, we'll work with your medical team and regress that issue back in time to its core mechanism, which we address, which we call the root cause, or ISE, initial sensitizing event. And once we are there, that allows us to investigate the crime scene, so to speak, and the perpetrators. In other words, who said what, who did what, that led you to believe that you were faulty, not good enough, not deserving. and not able to thrive. And once we are at that root cause, we're able to address it, release it, repair your truth, repair your emotional fabric, repair your sense of self-worth, repair your sense of self-esteem. So it truly corresponds to addressing the basis, your foundation, which may be fractured, as most of us have fractured foundation. We're chipped by life, especially early in life, and we cope because we're expert copers, and we embark on life filled with fractures. So my work, and as a deep sea rescue diver, I love that analogy of diving to the depth of your subconscious mind, below the conscious mind, which is really the tip of the iceberg, that very small portion, that's the thinking, planning, plotting part of the mind. We dive to the core, the massive force that is your subconscious mind, that regulates your heartbeat, your circulation, your health, that is constantly repairing and restoring your body without your conscious awareness or any sort of effort from your part, which shows us how powerful the subconscious mind truly is. And together here, we go back in time to investigate, analyze, understand, and bring to light those fractures. Imagine us diving underwater with our torch flashlights as investigators to the source of those fractures beneath the surface. And once we find them, we're able to resolve these fractures, release the misperceptions and the disbelief. So I often say, I often say, and I love that idea, that as a hypnotherapist, truly my work consists in de-hypnotizing you from the false beliefs that were implanted, embedded into your mind and fabric and emotional being early on in life, and later continually enhanced by media, by mass marketing and advertising that is heavily intended to subliminally hypnotize us continually with false beliefs. And so together we work as an investigative team to find and address and resolve those fractures below your emotional, in your emotional fabric, below your conscious mind, repair them, restore your truth. So we're basically solidifying your emotional fabric, making your foundation strong as steel, no more fractures in there, which when you emerge as a diver, emerge from a dive, you emerge stronger than you ever were before. Ever, because we're all walking around chipped by life. And when we restore our truth, we truly emerge as whole beings who know that we are as good as it's going to get. We are all unique and irreplaceable exactly as we are, and all we can do is give our very best. And if somebody likes it, wonderful. And if somebody doesn't, guess what? Their loss, not your loss. Once you have regressed in time, you're bringing your adult self back in time to the younger child who you were, maybe at 2, maybe at 3, maybe at 8. Younger child feeling unsafe, threatened, scared, unloved, feeling not good enough. And that is devastating for a young child. And we're bringing your adult self with me by your side as your warrior, your fighter, your defender, and your protector. And I'm combat trained, so I'm fierce when I'm your protector. And we're bringing your adult self back in time to rescue that child and explain to that child that who that child is beautiful, unique, and irreplaceable, exactly as they are, no matter who said what. And we don't leave that child back then and there because you've already been there for them. There's no reason for that younger you to be stuck back there. We bring that child back with you into your life of today so that child can embark on the best childhood of their life, surrounded by your protection today as an adult. And that makes you stronger than you've ever been. And that leads you to embark on the best chapter of your life, maybe the best childhood of your life. No matter how young or old you are today, you can still embark on the best childhood of your life and turn your life into a success story. That's the core of my work. I'll speak more about this in length on my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Join our community. We're a community of survivors and thrivers. We stand stronger when we stand together. And big heartfelt love to those of you who are sharing my words out there. You make me so happy and so proud. And I look forward to seeing your comments on my channel. Share with those you think might benefit. And feel free to comment and share your stories as well. We are here together in what I call my army of truth, my army of light, bringing those who suffer together so we can stand strong and shine brighter than ever before. I'm Geneviève. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Forensic and clinical hypnotherapist is my work, my area of expertise. I spent my life researching brain plasticity and brain rewiring to survive and thrive through adversity and develop formulas for success and wellness. Welcome to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you live.